I have a Cultivation World 5. Chapter 5, Technique for Enhancing Spiritual Root Score 1. As soon as Ding Jinglu declared the end of the class, everyone in the classroom hurried to the cultivation room. Chen Mobai deliberately lagged behind on purpose and didn't catch the first batch. Then, with an excuse of going to the restroom, he stumped his foot and sighed, turning into the teacher's office. In the immortal schools, there are only morning classes. The afternoon is for self-study. After class, the students all flock to the cultivation room, and the teachers are no exception. Apart from those like Ding Jinglu, whose potential is exhausted and who are destined never to establish a foundation again, the others, such as Diyuan, are also cultivating every single second outside of teaching. Even so, only Ding Jinglu would give up his quota for a rank 2 spiritual energy cultivation room. Chen Mobai had originally thought that at this time, the only person inside the teacher's office should be old Ding. But just as he arrived at the doorway, he discovered that apart from him, there was already a classmate in there. It wasn't Ding's chosen successor Song Zheng, but another genius in their class who's in the late stages of qi cultivation, Bingxuan. Her beauty had not been enhanced by makeup. Her long hair was draped over her shoulders, and her tall figure could not be concealed by the oversized school uniform. Upon seeing Chen Mobai standing at the doorway, she slightly furrowed her brow. They gave a slight bow to old Ding and asked to leave. Chen Mobai nodded to Bingxuan as she walked out, and she hesitated before also responding with a nod. The two of them were in different circles in class. Although they were in the same class, they only knew each other to the extent of nodding their heads when they met. However, Chen Mobai felt that compared to last semester, Bingxuan seemed more cold in her demeanor this term. As if trying to match her name, the genius cultivator was becoming increasingly aloof. Chen Mobai, instead of waiting in the cultivation room, how come you have time to come here? Old Ding considered himself to be quite a humorous person. After listening to him, Chen Mobai smirked and walked inside. It's like this, Teacher Ding. My mom hired a tutor in hopes of preparing me for the high school exam, to guide me in practical application of magical arts. Yesterday, he left me some homework, asking me to decode a water-like defensive prohibition. But I, being a little dull, couldn't do it, so I had no choice but to come and ask for your guidance. After Chen Mobai finished speaking, Ding Jinglu didn't have any doubts. After all, the best way to improve in magical arts is through endless practical exercises. While the contents taught in school are vast, they indeed fall short in certain specific spells and prohibitions compared to some private tutor cultivators out there. Your mom really is generous. Private tutors aren't cheap. While Ding Jinglu was looking for the origin of the water wave prohibition based on Chen Mobai's description in his magic data library, he casually asked, "With my mother's high hopes, I can only work hard. Thank you for your trouble, Teacher Ding." Chen Mobai didn't dare to say much and could only be ambiguous. Subsequently, he explained in detail to Ding Jinglu the few situations he encountered when testing the water wave prohibition in Water Mansion using a coin. Based on your description, it's very likely that the prohibition was solidified with these 3 spells. After Ding Jinglu lost hope in establishing his foundation, he wholeheartedly devoted himself to the field of education. With the rare visit from Chen Mobai actively seeking instruction, he was also very dedicated in retrieving 3 spells from his magic data library: Flowing Water Cover, Surge Curse, Scale Wave Technique. The contents of specific spells and the methods of decoding them, I'll transfer them to your personal library. Try them a lot at home. If it still doesn't work, you can write a report on the problems and send it to me. Upon seeing that Ding Jinglu sent the documents of the 3 spells to his personal library, Chen Mobai repeatedly expressed his thanks. If he were to download the materials for these 3 spells from the Immortal School's library, he would have to pay at least 30 good deed points. Moreover, without a teacher like Ding Jinglu, who is deeply versed in the research of spells, Chen Mobai alone would have to waste several days and nights searching in the vast ocean of the internet. The benefits of the school are really great. Chen Mobai sighed from the bottom of his heart. This was why they valued the high school exams so much. If one was able to get into those great Tao academies, they could get not only spells, but also secret arts for breaking through realms and magic immortal methods for free. On the planet Diyuan, due to the legacy of the previous mechanical civilization, attitudes towards knowledge are mostly open-minded. The divinity transformation methods passed down by the immortal schools can be obtained for free as long as one's cultivation level has reached the late stages of the nascent soul phase. Exactly because of this kind of culture, even in an environment as resource-poor as planet Diyuan, the immortal schools can still produce divinity transformation elders. By the way, Teacher Ding, was Yan Bingxuan also here to ask you about spells just now? Before leaving, Chen Mobai, recalling what happened just now, subconsciously asked, "Her?" Since entering the late stages of Qi cultivation, she seems to have decided to transform her true spirit root of double attributes of metal and water into an ice spirit root. She's asking me for advice on how to refine and enhance her spiritual root. Chen Mobai hadn't expected an answer, but when Ding Jinglu straightforwardly revealed it, he was shocked with eyes wide open in disbelief. Wait, can a spiritual root be upgraded and transformed? Oh, you haven't touched upon this level yet, but there's no harm in telling you beforehand. Ding Jinglu tapped on his keyboard a couple of times, selected a document, and sent it to Chen Mobai. I was able to be admitted by the Pure Yang Academy because during my time at Cinnabarite Institute, I secluded myself for 20 years and turned my spiritual root into the three-sun body, which is a variant of a different spiritual root. However, despite spending 20 years of hard work and turning my spiritual root into a top-grade one, the time I had left to reach Qi cultivation perfection has become far from enough. You all know the story of my later life. Even with the three-sun body, 2 foundation establishment failures have exhausted my potential. After briefly scanning the document about spiritual roots that Ding Jinglu had sent to him, Chen Mobai understood the reason. In planet Diyuan, due to limited resources, the might of the immortal schools could only focus on researching spells and cultivation techniques, hoping that this could enhance the overall quality of their cultivators. 6,000 years ago, a person named Tianbo created the technique of turning into gold, which could enhance the attributes of gold spiritual roots. Practicing this technique to the peak could turn any ordinary false spirit root below 20 into a gold heavenly spiritual root. As of today, the immortal schools have dozens of secret techniques that can purify and enhance spiritual roots. Even the secret technique to transform into ice spirit root, thunder spiritual root, and wind spiritual root are widely circulated among the various Taoist academies. The better the spiritual root, the faster you cultivate. However, if you spend time enhancing your own spiritual root, the time for Qi cultivation would correspondingly decrease. I am a negative example of this. Therefore, the immortal schools have a rule that these contents will not be taught in class before university, to prevent you from distractions. Once you enter university, all the large Taoist academies have their own secret methods to purify and enhance their spiritual roots suitable for their inherited grand techniques. Whether to practice them or not still depends on the individual.